Hi there, Oakwood friends, and happiest March and happiest St. Patrick's Day, which we will be celebrating next week on March 17th. Today I'm going to be doing all Irish music for you. I'm wearing my special green shirt. You may also notice my background's a little different than usual. It's because I got a very large machine here that I have to work next to now, so everything's kind of flipped around, but still the same old Quarantunes, brought to you by me, Emily. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so excited to play this music for you too. I've always loved Irish music. There's something really special about it. I remember being at Oakwood, and when Irish music players would come in, they'd sort of talk about how Irish music works, which is it's sort of a simple melody and folk songs that are usually written by the people, and they're easy enough for everyone to join in. Whether it be singing, stomping their feet, playing other instruments like fiddles or whatever they have on hand. And so it's songs for everyone, which I really like, and it makes them very, very fun to dance to and very fun to sing to and very fun to play to. So I am so excited to be bringing you these songs this week. I will also be throwing a little bit of history in there about the songs, of course, but also about St. Patrick's Day and why we celebrate it, and sort of the history of Ireland. I myself have not been to Ireland, but I'm sure that many of you have, and I'm sure that many of you have very, very fond stories of Ireland, if not Irish heritage, which I'm sure that some of you have as well. So this week, enjoy Quarantunes, all about St. Patrick's Day. Arguably, one of the most famous Irish songwriters is Chauncey Olcott. He was actually born John Chancellor Olcott with an O, but he changed his name to Chauncey Olcott when he was a Broadway star. He was born in New York in 1858, and he wrote hundreds of songs, but probably three that you're very familiar with. When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, Wild Irish Rose, and Tooralooraloora. And they all have kind of neat stories behind them. So while I'm going to play all three, I'll start with my Wild Irish Rose. And this song, the story behind it that later came out was that his mom had traveled back to her homeland of Ireland in the 1890s. And when she arrived there, a young gentleman gave her a rose. And she asked, "What is this?" And he said, "It's a wild Irish rose." And so she had saved that flower and pressed it into an album. And then later when he was thinking of, oh geez, what will my next song be? She pulled out the album, opened it up to that page, and pulled out this flower and said, "This is your next song, Wild Irish Rose." I think that's a really neat story. And so he wrote this song, and it was in a Broadway after that. And I think it was later even made into a movie. And it was one of his most popular songs, and it's still popular today, and it even has like a liquor named after it now. But this is Wild Irish Rose. The sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare to my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. Someday for my sake, she may let me take the blooms from her wild Irish rose. The sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare to my wild Irish take the blooms from her wild Irish rose, and someday for my sake she may let me take the blooms from her wild Irish rose. St. Patrick's Day is celebrated all over the world on March 17th, which marks the traditional death date of St. Patrick, the foremost patron saint of Ireland. It's kind of cool that it's celebrated around the world, although it's only a national holiday in Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, and a few other places. But places get really into it. For example, in Chicago, they have this tradition. They dye the river green. I think the biggest, could be wrong, but I think the biggest parade that's held is actually in New York, which is, I mean, it's a huge parade. It has about 150,000 dancers, musicians, and more. It's been in place since 1762, making its run longer than the United States has been a country. So just to show how much Irish heritage we have in the U.S., that is a really cool fact. It's also celebrated widely in Tokyo, Japan, London, England, Germany, Argentina, Belgium, Brazil, all over the world. It's a great holiday, and it is the biggest festival that's celebrated internationally, which is pretty cool. For now, enjoy this next song. This next song tells kind of a tragic story with a very catchy tune. It is Molly Malone, also known as Cockles and Mussels, or In Dublin's Fair City. So 3 different titles. The song is a classic and has become an unofficial anthem for Dublin, Ireland. It's about a fishmonger, who's a person who sells fish and other seafood, sort of pushing a cart around the city, and her name is Molly Malone. The song is not recorded earlier than 1876, but they're a little unsure of who first recorded it. It was actually in a book. It was first recorded in a book called Songs from English and German Universities, and it suggests that from there that it has an Irish origin. It was finally published in 1884 as a work written and composed by James Yorkston of Edinburgh, with music arranged by Edmund Foreman. The song, like I said, has become very popular as an Irish traditional song, so much so that in 1988, the Dublin Millennium Celebrations, they decided that June 13th would be declared Molly Malone Day, as there had been records that this fishmonger had possibly died on that day in the 1600s. No one's for sure if Molly Malone is a real person or not. And there's hundreds of records of the name Molly Malone, so who knows? But this song is great, and yes, so enjoy Molly Malone / Cockles and Mussels / In Dublin's Fair City. In Dublin's fair city, where girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone, as she wheeled her wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She was a fishmonger, and sure 'twas no wonder, for so were her father and mother before, and they each wheeled their barrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She died of a fever, and no one could save her, and that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. Now her ghost wheels her barrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. So who was St. Patrick, and why do we celebrate him every year? He actually lived during the 5th century, and he is the patron saint of Ireland and its national apostle. He was born in Britain and was kidnapped and brought to Ireland as a slave at the age of 16. He later escaped but returned to Ireland and was credited with bringing Christianity to the people. In the centuries following his death, which was believed to be on March 17th, 461, the mythology surrounding his life became even more ingrained in the Irish culture. Perhaps the most well-known legend of St. Patrick is that he explained the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, using the 3 leaves of the native Irish clover, or the shamrock. Another famous folklore about him is that he chased all the snakes out of Ireland, and there is still no snakes there today. So St. Patrick was a very important person for their history and their culture, and still is to this day. This song is a tribute to Ireland by Chauncey Olcott again. He wrote this for his production of The Isle of Dreams, which he starred in, and so he sang this song. It was published in 1912, and it is called When Irish Eyes Are Smiling. It was a song that romanticized Ireland and the Irish people in general. It was popular during the First World War as well, when the famous tenor John McCormick recorded the song, and it continued to be a familiar standard for generations after that. Decades later, it was the opening song for the radio show Duffy's Tavern, which was an American radio comedy, and the song has been recorded over 200 singles by different people, including Bing Crosby, Connie Francis, and Roger Whittaker. This is When Irish Eyes Are Smiling. Is like a morning spring in the lilt of Irish laughter. You can hear the angels sing. When Irish hearts are happy, all the world seems bright and gay. like a morning spring in the lilt of Irish laughter. You can hear the angels sing when Irish hearts are happy. All the world seems bright and gay, and when Irish eyes are smiling, sure they steal your heart away. Sure they steal your heart away. This next song is a true Irish classic. It is Danny Boy. It was first written in 1910 to the tune of Londonderry Air, and Frederick Weatherly was the one who put the lyrics to the melody after his sister sang him the song Londonderry Air. It wasn't until 1915 that it was first produced, and since then it's become a huge hit, one of the top hits of the century, of the 1900s, and the song's been performed by so many different people. Of course, you know, Bing Crosby did it, Andy Williams, Eric Clapton, Johnny Cash, Sam Cooke, Elvis Presley, and the list goes on and on, Harry Belafonte even. One thing that's kind of interesting about it is that it's mostly men who have sang it, but it is written for a female, and so when they first wrote it, they actually put an alternate lyric that was Eily Dear instead of Danny Boy, because Danny Boy is supposed to be sung by a woman. Although the meaning of the song, they don't actually know the meaning of the song. Some have interpreted it as actually a song from a parent to their child who's going off to war or the uprising, as suggested by The Pipes Are Calling Glen to Glen. And others have thought that maybe it was in reference to when all the Irish were leaving Ireland to migrate to other places. So I guess maybe we'll never know, but it is a beautiful song and a standard nonetheless. This is Danny Boy. Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. 'Tis you must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow, and I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny Boy, oh, Danny Boy, I love you so. But if you come and all the flowers are dying, and I am dead, and dead I will may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I will know the soft you tread above me, and all my grave will richer, sweeter be. has a very rich history. It goes all the way back to the 5th century, when the Celtics first were discovered there, lived there. And then they went through many, many years where they were living by themselves and they were free, but they continued to be invaded by Vikings, pretty much from the 9th century all the way through the 12th century. It wasn't until they became a part of the United Kingdom in 1800 where they were sort of protected more from that. Then in 1845, they experienced the Great Famine, which was the potato crop field, which is one of their main sources of food. Millions died of starvation and millions left Ireland. And actually most of them came to the United States, but I'm sure that they went elsewhere as well. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, the Irish began to want their independence back from the United Kingdom. The Ourselves Alone Act became a political movement for freedom. From 1919 to 1921, Ireland and England went to war. At the end of the war, the Irish Free State was formed. Ireland was divided into the Republic of Ireland, which is an independent country, and Northern Ireland, which is still a part of the United Kingdom. Today in Ireland, English is the common language, but Irish or Gaelic is also an official language and is taught in schools. So like I said, that is a very brief history of a very long-standing country. This next song is a little poke at the fun of the luck of the Irish. The song is called The Luck of the Irish, and it is by John Lennon and Yoko Ono. They released it on their 1972 album Elephant's Memory, which they did all duets, which is lots of good songs came from that album. But this one, they did it like a folk-like melody so that you could easily sing along, sort of like an Irish tune where, they get the same beat and everyone can sing or play along. But in the verses, Lennon sings of the difficult history between England and Ireland, and of the contemporary political problems in Northern Ireland as a result of British colonialism. And it's funny because his part is sort of serious, and then her part sings of stuff like rainbows and leprechauns and the Blarney Stone, and is a little more pretty, but his words are a bit more heavy. Still sings of the some of the history of Ireland, and like I said, it pokes, maybe, I don't know if it pokes a little fun, but it pokes a little something at the luck of the Irish. So this is The Luck of the Irish by John Lennon and Yoko Ono. If you had the luck of the Irish, you'd be sorry and wish you were dead. You should have the luck of the Irish, and you'd wish you was English instead. 1,000 years of torture and hunger drove the people away from their land. A land full of beauty and wonder was raped by the British brigands. If you could dream dreams like Irish streams, then the world would be high as the mountains of Mourne. In Liverpool they told us the story, how the English divided the land, of the pain and the death and the glory, and the poets of old Ireland. If we could make chains with the morning dew, the world would be like Galway Bay. Let's walk over rainbows like leprechauns, the world would be one big Blarney Stone. Why the hell are the English there anyway, as they kill with God on their side? Bring it on, the kids in the commit genocide, genocide. If we had the luck of the Irish, we'd be sorry and wish you were dead. Have the luck of the Irish, and we'd wish you were British instead. You would wish you were British instead. You would wish you were English instead. So why do we wear green on St. Patrick's Day? As you can see, I pulled up my one and only green shirt that I have just for this occasion. But actually, it is to celebrate Irish heritage, but in Ireland, what people actually wear is a small bunch of shamrocks on the right breast of their outer clothing. These shamrocks are blessed in ceremonies all over Ireland by either the local priests or bishops. This is known as the blessing of the shamrock. So if you want to look like a true Irish person on St. Patrick's Day, just get the shamrocks out and pin them to your shirt. This next song was always one of our favorites when we would have Irish music at Oakwood. It's called The Belle of Belfast City. That's what they call it in most places, but it's more traditionally called I'll Tell Me Ma. It is a song that was recorded in the 19th century. No one is exactly sure when, but then it shows up in collections shortly after the 20th century, so in the early 1900s. It talks about Belfast City, but it's been changed by English versions to say Golden City or London City as well. And it is actually based on a children's game. So in the game, a ring is formed by children joining hands. One player stands in the center. When asked, please tell me who they be, the girl in the middle gives the names or initials of a boy in the ring, or vice versa. The ring then sings the rest of the words, and the boy who is named goes in the center, and so on. So then he'll name a girl, and it's just playing around like that. Really catchy tune. It's very upbeat, and we love it. So hopefully this gets your toes tapping. This is I'll Tell Me Ma, or Belle of Belfast City. Won't leave the girls alone. They pulled me hair, they stole me comb. That's not right till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty. She is the belle of Belfast City. She is important, 1, 2, 3. Please won't you tell me who is she? Albert Mooney says he loves her. All the boys are fighting for her. Knock at the door, ring out the bell. Me true love, are you well? Out she comes as white as snow. Rings on her fingers, bells on her toes. Old Johnny Morse, he says she'll die if she doesn't get the fellow with the roving eye. I'll tell me ma The next song is a little bit of a cheat song because it's not necessarily Irish, but it is from the UK, and I think that it's one that you know and have probably loved before. It is the White Cliffs of Dover. Not only are these cliffs breathtakingly beautiful, there's also a rich history there from way back before World Wars, but this song in particular was a World War II song that was composed in 1941, and it was made most famous by Vera Lynn in 1942. This song was written a year after the Royal Air Force and German aircraft had been fighting over southern England, including the White Cliffs of Dover in the Battle of Britain. So it's just a beautiful song with beautiful lyrics, and it is about the UK, so we're going to throw it in with our Irish songs. Enjoy the White Cliffs of Dover. Celebrations here in the United States can get pretty wild. There's huge parades. There's, they dye the river green in Chicago, as we said before. People seem to like to drink green beverages, including green beer. None of that stuff really happened in Ireland until about 20 years ago when it became more popular. What they usually did was they would attend church on St. Patrick's Day with their shamrocks pinned on their breast. And after attending Mass, families would return home and sit down to a large roast dinner that consisted of meat and vegetables served along with roast and mashed potatoes. Then they would sit down in front of the television and watch a St. Patrick's Day parade from around the world. Not really that many in Ireland until, like I said, until more recently. So they would sit down and watch one from, let's say, New York, where it's the biggest one. And that is a traditional St. Patrick's Day in Ireland. This next song was first recorded by someone who you might have heard of because we've had a few songs from him, Chauncey Olcott. It's one of my favorite Irish songs, and it's an Irish lullaby, also called Tu Ralu Ralura. It's a really catchy tune, and it's beautifully written. It was first debuted in 1913 for the musical Shamin Du, which I think is Irish, Gaelic. It peaked at #1 on the music charts then, and then later a massive star recorded it and it peaked again. That was Bing Crosby, and he sold over 1 million copies, which was huge. The song is beautiful. It's been covered many, many times, and hopefully it doesn't put you to sleep, but it is a lullaby, and therefore it sounds like one. So this is Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra, tooraloo-ra-lay, tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. Hush now, don't you cry. Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra, tooraloo-ra-lay, tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. It's an Irish lullaby. Over in Killarney, many years ago, me mother sang this song to me in tones so soft and low. 'Twas a simple little ditty in her good old Irish way, and I'd give the world to hear my mother sing today. Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra, tooraloo-ra-lay, tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. Hush now, don't you cry. Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra, tooraloo-ra-lay, tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. It's an Irish lullaby. Often dreams I wander to that cut again. I feel her arms a-hugging me as when she held me then, and I hear her voice a-humming to me as in days of yore, when she used to rock me fast asleep in the cabin door. Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra, tooraloo-ra-lay, tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. Hush now, don't you cry. Tooraloo-ra-loo-ra, tooraloo-ra-lay, tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. It's an Irish lullaby. Well, Oakwood friends, I hope you enjoyed all of the Irish music this week, as well as some of the history of Ireland and St. Patrick's Day. I know that I really enjoy these songs and they bring a lot of joy to me, and I hope they do the same for you. Thank you to Life Enrichment for allowing me to do this and encouraging me to keep trying new things and just keep going. And thank you to everyone who watches, whether this is your first time or your 30th time. I really appreciate the support. Next time, in a few weeks, we'll be doing something a little different for Quarantunes. We will actually be doing an artist feature. So it will be a little bit more like the format today, where there will be some talk about the artist's history and life, as well as music just from that artist. And in a few weeks, we will be featuring Doris Day. So stick around for that. I think it will be at this, the same sort of time, 7 o'clock on Wednesdays, or whatever time these air usually. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. She was a very, very interesting woman, and she also had great music. So stay tuned for that. Have a great St. Patrick's Day. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay singing. And since this is a special Irish edition, we'll do a quick Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Say bye. Happy St. Patrick's Day.